All right, the Las Vegas Raiders keep getting more and more and more good news. Like, it just keeps coming in, the good news. And I think what you're going to see with this team is similar to what you saw, and I know you don't like this team. I think it's similar to what you saw with the Chargers last year. It's a team that was struggling mightily, and you kind of wonder, do they have all the pieces in order to make a go of this? And some of the pieces are in different spots and things like that. But I'm telling you right now, you now have a fantastic coach. Pete Carroll doesn't lose large amounts of games. He never has. Sometimes he has 500-ish seasons, but he's not losing a ton of games. So he's going to elevate the level of talent that you have, and he's going to put them and maximize them in the best possible position. We're going to talk about some of those players. We're going to talk about some of those players right now on your team that are kind of that swing player. So we're going to talk about two players. One's a quarterback, one's a center, and then we're going to go through and we're going to evaluate your offense from 2024 now into 2025 and just look at how much better it is, because it's not even close. Before we get into that, if you are new to this channel, my name is Craig. Me and my buddy Chris started this. We're Lions fans. We live in the great state of Michigan. Hey, there it is. Go Blue. And with all of that, we wanted to start a channel that talked about teams that the national media ignored, and a lot of the national sources, the news that the national media doesn't talk about. So if this is very interesting. Kenny Pickett trade makes even more sense after his latest comments. All right. And his latest comments are very, very interesting. All right. Kenny Pickett, I'm going to go into this article where it was. All right. Here's what we found out. We didn't know this before. I'm going to get rid of all these ads for you. All right. He talked about Geno Smith. He goes, yeah, Geno's awesome. He said, we got to work together every day in the offseason, so it's actually crazy how this game works. He was like kind of my training partner. We were pushing each other every day in the weight room, on the field. We were throwing like 3 times a week, Pickett said. So it's really funny now that we're teammates, we're kind of picking up right where we left off. He's an awesome guy to learn from. I'm here for him, whatever he needs. He's answering my questions. Obviously, I have a lot of them. I'm trying not to bother him too much. Then he went on to talk about how, just looking at it early, he's good friends with Mark Whipple. This is Kenny Pickett, all right, who was my OC at the University of Pittsburgh. So there's a lot of similarities there, Pickett said of Kelly. I'm going to call Coach Whip this weekend and talk to him about it more, but a lot of the things I did in college is similar to what Chip Kelly is doing now. So we're not going to spend a ton of time talking about Kenny Pickett, but I need to tell you why I enjoy this pickup. Geno Smith isn't young. Kenny Pickett is. What Kenny Pickett can remind me of is someone that is what Geno was. It was a first-round draft pick. Was Geno a first or was he a second? Anyways, with all that being said, it didn't work at his first few stops, and then he got to a place with Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks that it worked for him, and he turned his career around like that. We're seeing that with quarterbacks more and more and more. We saw it with him. We saw it with Sam Darnold in Minnesota. We saw it with Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. If you have first-round draft capital, you are going to continue to get an opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Kenny Pickett, maybe his greatest flaw, I know this sounds dumb, is my greatest flaw, really tiny hands. I have small hands, right? And he has hands that might actually be smaller than mine. Very rough for when you have conditions that aren't easy to throw the football in. Luckily, he plays in the West. All right. Now, could it be cold twice a year when you go to Kansas City and Denver? Yes, but there's only a 50-50 shot of that, because it could be in the first half of the year, too, that you play him on the road. All right. It's never going to be cold in LA. It's never going to be cold in Vegas. So you have all your home games, and it could work out well, and he could be a guy that could be here. And what we do know is, as a backup quarterback, he might be better than any starter that you had. All right. Now, I want to talk about another guy, and that's the guy that is going to be getting the snaps. There's been a lot of talk about Jordan Meredith. All right. This is what is going to be your starting center, according to everything that we're hearing. All right. Everything we're hearing is that he's going to start at center, and then you're going to have Jackson Powers Johnson move back over to guard, which is interesting considering how well it went for him moving to center. When Powers Johnson came out of college, they basically said, it doesn't matter if he plays center or guard, he's going to be a star in this league. And I fully believe that. Did you realize that Meredith put up a fifth? He was fifth, even though he didn't play a ton of snaps because the let me zoom back out of here. All right, 574 on the offensive line. More than enough snaps to be a large sample size to say, oh, yeah, this guy's really, really good. All right? This guy's really, really good, and we can have confidence in him. This will be the determining factor of if your offensive line goes or not. This is it. And so I am pretty excited about it because if that Meredith and Powers Johnson combo goes well and Glaze goes well, that right side of the line will be transformed to be as good as the left side of the line that is already extremely solid. And if you have a solid offensive line around this, oh my goodness, the talent is so much better. Let's go and look. There was an article that went through and it did a breakdown of the difference between your offense last year and this year. So first we'll start at the quarterback position. Additions: Geno Smith, Kenny Pickett. Subtractions: Gardner Minshew, Carter Bradley, Desmond Ridder. What would you rather have? Like, it is even remotely close to a question. It's, hey, are we going to get guys that are career backups or not even good enough to be backups? Or one guy who is a starting level top 10, top 15 caliber quarterback in the NFL over the last few years, and a guy who has proven that he is a high quality backup. I'll take the starter and backup over backup and nothing. All right, now, don't even get me started when we get into the running back room. When you add Ashton Jeanty and Raheem Mostert, and all you lose is Alexander Madison. I promise you Mostert isn't as cashed out as Madison was. Amir Abdullah, love him. He was a Lion. I told you we're Lions fans. He was a Lion first coming out of Nebraska. Then he went to the Raiders. I can't believe he's held on in the NFL as long as he has. And Sincere McCormick, all right? Like, the additions, I don't even care what the other names are because Ashton Jeanty's in there. It's really that simple. He's still there. All right, that makes the room significantly better. Now you move over to the wide receiver room. You have I keep scrolling too far. You have a second-round pick in Jack Beck. You have Dante Thornton, who's already outplaying Jack. And then you bring in a guy who has experience in Amari Cooper. I don't know what's going to happen with Jacoby Myers. I don't. I think he's going to stay, personally. All right, but what are you losing? You're losing a bunch of randoms. It's a bunch of randoms. All right, sort of subtraction, Devontae Adams. Yeah, sort of, because he wasn't there at the back end of the year. Every position is better, period, point blank. All right? Tight end, extremely minor upgrade, they would say. All right, Ian Thomas, but it doesn't matter because you still have Brock Bowers. And then for the offensive line, all right, you say push or minor upgrade. I agree with that. I do think when you have a guy like Kappa, Forsyth, I think these are guys that can much more easily come in, even Charles Grant a little bit, and be starters without being like, oh no, in case one of the other guys goes down. This is what I'm saying. They keep getting more and more and more good news, and it's fun to watch. All right, thank you so much for seeing it. The season is really close, everybody. I mean, we are literally 3 days away from the NFL kicking off. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.